Welcome to the Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by X2 Comedy. If you're looking to get more out of your Shenandoah Valley experience, then this is the podcast for you. You'll meet interesting people, the comedians that perform here, and find out more about what you can do and see. Whether you live here or plan to visit, listen to explore what helps make up our unique slice of heaven. Now here's your host, Dawn Davis Womack.
Hello, Laughers. I'm super excited to introduce you to Dante Carter, a comedian with over 20 years in the comedy biz. From Bear, Delaware, Dante has been on HBO Def Comedy Jam, BET's Comic View, and tours the country performing at comedy clubs, concert halls, colleges, and prisons. He toured the Middle East performing for our U.S. and allied troops in the Stand Up for America comedy tour that starred comedy legend Tommy Davidson. He also toured overseas in Europe, Asia, and the Caribbean islands. This Cleveland native draws from his own life experiences, relating and engaging audiences worldwide. Welcome to the show, Dante. It's great to have you on today.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here with you, Dawn. Thank you, sweetie. It's good to be here. Good to be on the show with you. Thanks for having me on the show. God, my goodness.
It is. Yes, it is very good to have you on. I very much enjoy working with you, and I can't wait to have you back. You're an incredible, hilarious, talented performer. It is a joy to share the stage with you. So I was very much looking forward to sharing with the Laughers who Dante Carter is today. So thanks again for being on.
My pleasure. It's my pleasure. It's my honor to be with you.
You have 20 years in the business. I can learn so much from you, and I'm curious because I haven't known this before. How did you get your start in comedy?
I got my start in comedy. Wow. I guess I was the funny guy at work, and somebody just dared me to try it. And I thought about it the whole summer, and I started writing material I thought I would do. And I went away to my second school. This is when I graduated one college. I went to the university, and I just started going to open mic nights and stuff like that. And it was crazy how things just happened. I came at a good time because there was like this big comedy explosion for African-American comics. I say black comedians. It was a good explosion for young, and we were getting like television experience, like, wow, like right off, like 2 years, a year in. It was crazy. So I guess I came from that sector of the comedy world. It was awesome though. Good, awesome. And I just began to enter contests. I won a few contests, and then I started getting paid gigs. And I didn't look back. This lady scouted me from a show that I did in Alabama, and she took me on tour. And I met some comics, that were upper echelon comics that took me under their wing, and they actually helped me. Helped me get, further my, get on TV and stuff like that. And and I still can't believe I do it.
Get paid to make people laugh. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you studying in college?
I was actually communications.
Okay.
I went to a junior college where I played basketball for a year. Then they shut the program down my next year, and I just stayed and finished. I was in love too. I stayed and finished, and I came to university, and I started continued on with communications. So that was actually what I was studying when I stopped in college.
Oh, okay. So you fell in love. Was that your now wife?
No.
Oh.
Not.
Then we won't talk about that.
Yeah.
We won't.
I have to live with her after this, Dawn.
Right. Well, we were talking before the podcast interview how you were celebrating 23 years, and then you were in the business for 20. So I just was curious about that. But anyway, we won't talk about that. We will move on. Who have been your top 5 comedy influences that have inspired you in your career the most?
Wow. I got to say Richard Pryor at first. He was what I learned of a comedian. Guys like George Carlin. There were other guys, Dick Gregory. It was a wealth of comics, man, like Tim Conway, Bob Hope, guys, from early on. But I didn't know at that time that I ever wanted to pursue a career in comedy. But when I thought about guys who were funny, when I thought about guys who what they say timing was, even though I didn't know what it was. But I can imagine it was those type of guys, because it's like, wow, it was just amazing to watch them work their craft, you know?
Yeah, that's really great. Yeah, there are a lot of talented people in Tim Conway's area, or not area, but that era is what I meant. In that era, they're amazing talent. They've also influenced me, you know.
Yeah, you know, he's actually from Cleveland. He's from my hometown.
Oh.
He and Bob Hope are both Cleveland. I think Bob Hope, maybe, I don't know if he came from, I think maybe Germany or somewhere. I don't know. I think, but they named that as his hometown.
I didn't know that.
And I'm finding out crazy as I get older, people who are from Cleveland. I just found out LaWanda Page was born in Cleveland. And I don't know. I had never heard that. And I thought I was a good historian. Like, I would know stuff, especially for my city. I would know stuff like that. But they hit me with that, and I was like, oh, my God. Yeah, Eartha Kitt. Yeah.
Cleveland's birthing talent all over the place.
Yeah,
Proud of that. I can hear
it. Yes. I had to fight for my city all my life.
I guess Cleveland, and you played basketball in the UP. You were used to the cold. Right?
Yeah, I did. But that snow in the UP is a little bit different than what I thought I knew. I got up there, I was like, oh my God. I actually jumped out of my second floor dorm room. I dove out the window. That's how high the snow would get. I dove out the window into snow. It was just like, it would drift, and it would get like 10 feet high. You know, it's crazy. Some of them drifts would be. But I mean, it was a great experience. Beautiful country, though. Oh my God. I haven't been since 87. And one of my bucket list things to do is to go back there and just go back. It's grown now. It was SUNY College when I was there. Now it's a university. So that's when you know you old, when your college becomes a university.
That was in Marquette, you said, in the UP?
It's actually in Hancock, Michigan, which is even further up, I could say. We were like right at that tip top area where Calumet, Michigan, like right up there where I think it's some part of it, we almost got into it with Canada over that area. It would have been Canada. Canada wanted that area. Somehow we got it. But yeah, the UP, the Upper Peninsula, the UPA.
Yeah, UP. That's right. I actually got married on Mackinac Island. I don't know how far that is. Yeah. Yeah, from where you were.
That's on the way up there from Cleveland. We drove from Cleveland. And it's on the way. We had to roll through. We had to go across that big bridge, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, the Mackinac Bridge. That's it. So I didn't know we had that connection. How did you end up in Delaware then?
Ooh, I'm still trying to figure that out. That's the
thing. Just one day woke up and there you were, Bear, Delaware.
Had a girl at a spot, and next thing I wake up, I'm at a wedding with a tuxedo on. I don't remember who I was before. I guess it's where I'm supposed to go, so I just went with it.
And now 23 years later, you just celebrated your anniversary last weekend.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah.
And still figuring out why you're in there. I'm just messing. What's your wife's name? What's your wife's first name?
Tina Carter is her name. She was her last name was Brown. And you know I'm a Cleveland Brown fan, so I always say that's what got my attention. I said I love the Browns so much I married one.
Tina, you said Tina?
Trina, yeah, Trina.
Trina. Okay, Trina.
Never cut Trina. She hates that. Don't call me Trina. A lot of people say that when they meet. Oh, is it Katrina? No. Call her Katrina. It's Trina.
All right. I will not make this mistake, Trina. I promise you, if you're listening, I would love for you to come to a show with your husband. That would be awesome. So, I got another question for you. You have been on a couple of TV shows. So I wanted to ask you what your experiences were like performing on HBO Def Comedy Jam and BET's Comic View. What was that like for you?
Wow, man. For me, being as young as I was and, just having a dream of doing something like that recent, to actually be somewhere where it's like, wow, I'm actually on the set of the place where I've been watching people do this craft for years. It's like, wow, man, I'm actually here. It was surreal to me. It was surreal. I think I walked around in the days for like the first day, but I had to get myself together because I had to perform. I was like, I got to get my set together because Def Jam was, it was no joke. Because remember, it was always, this is what people didn't know, that there was always like 5 comics who taped for the show that you're actually seeing, but somebody don't make it. And that's always, based on, you know, people got booed off the stage and all that. And it's like, okay, well, they won't show that. Now, if they had like 5 great comics that did 5 great sets, then they would probably edit one of the sets into another show somewhere where it was a hole, a gap. But yeah, so it was rough. So it was exciting. So I said, I got to get my set together. Be right. But it was awesome. Just being there and then seeing the lights in New York. It was my first time in New York. And we had to walk across, like, you know, the square. And it was like, you know, like all the lights and stuff. And it was like, wow, this is wild. I mean, we had our own driver come pick us up from the airport. It was like, this is a glimpse of how it could be. I made it.
How long was your set on Def Comedy Jam? How long is the set?
Like about 7 minutes.
Okay. Nice, tight. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Wow, I had to think about that. You took me back.
Yeah, that was Def Comedy Jam. How about BET's Comic View? That's a little bit different show.
It was different. The thing was cool about Comic View when the very first time that I did it, they had it where they just like do it in different spots. They would send a crew out to video like people in different like clubs all over the country. So it wasn't like you were there on. They brought it out like that. And then they would let you do like skits, you know, that they'll have some material for you to work with that you can work in front of the camera. And it was kind of cool because I got to actually write part of a character, a skit saying, you know, and it was kind of cool. And they would show that before they actually showed your set on TV, whichever location that you were at. So D.L. Hughley was the host then. And he was saying, this next guy is in Detroit at blah, 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 and give it up for Dante Carter, you know. And then they were, you know, boom, and then you'd see me on the stage in this place that you know I'm not in the same place he's in. But it was kind of cool though, man. It was like big time. It was like, wow, you know. And then when they reverted to bringing you to the set, you know, that was another experience also. But it was all good. It was just like, wow, just you can see how, wow, it could really be like this if you work hard. But you got to keep it going.
Got to keep the cadence up. Yeah. That journey brought you to a lot of places, including performing in concert halls. I was curious, what is the largest, most impressive venue you've performed in to date?
It's been a few, and it's been a lot. But I think if going on my memory, the best thing is the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, I think, and that was actually where they played at that time. I think they rebuilt it and made it another stadium there, but that was where like Georgia and all of them would play. So it was a section of that there was a concert in. And I think it was like maybe 5,000 or 6,000 people. And it was actually for Frankie Beverly and Mays. You ever heard of R&B group, Frankie Beverly and Mays? It was a show that was like running late. And they threw me right in the midst of the line.
Threw in the fire. There you go, Dante. You'll be fine.
It made me. It was one of those nights where it's like, if you're going to do this craft, you're going to have to be able to deal with this and bounce back. Because the people were already tired because things were running late. So the guy brings me up, the MC, he screws all my name up, everything in the intro, just puts me out there. Y'all, give it up for this next comedian. He's all the way from Kansas City. Y'all show some love for Dante Carter. Dante, and I'm walking to the stage, you know, because the guy done pushed me out. Go ahead, keep going. No, he don't care. No, you don't care that they done mispronounce my name. That's not, he pushing me out and the people start chanting, we want Frankie. We want Frankie. You know, like imagine there's 4,000 people chanting, we want Frankie. You going out to the mic to do comedy.
Oh my gosh.
So I step up to the mic And I started working my material a little, trying to get some things. And I was starting to get a little bit of response. People was laughing a little bit, like here and there. And then I started hearing they started chanting again, "We want Frankie. We want Frankie." So I kept going out there. And when I first started, it went from 20 minutes to 15 minutes to 10 minutes that I had to do. So I had to rearrange my mind to try to remember. And I was just, oh my God, you talking about some pressure. And I'll never forget this because Dick Gregory was in the audience. I couldn't see him very well from where I was in, but I heard him kept saying, "Keep going, keep going, keep going. Don't stop, keep going." I heard him encouraging me to keep, and I kept doing, I did my time. I deal with the chants and all that. I got a few laughs. It kept going in and out. It was crazy. And I did my time and I got off stage. And I was like, I was torn. I was tore up. I was like, oh my God, I hated that. And that's not the worst of it. After all of that, right? I'm backstage, alting everybody's way, it wasn't, you'll be all right. I'm trying to, I'm like ready, like, oh my God, they're going to take me out to my seat. Into the audience, right in the section where most of the people were, and "We want Frankie."
Oh, goodness.
So I had to try to make myself look like I was a different guy. I wasn't that guy you just saw on stage. I took my tie off. I had the shirt on. I tried to make myself look, ruffle my hair up. They sat me down, and this lady just looked at me and said, "Baby, you was okay. We was just tired." Yeah. So everything.
That tired with energy to say "we want Frankie," though. Ooh. Oh my goodness.
Wow. What a life.
And you're still standing. See, that's amazing, And you went from that. I don't know if you went from that to having gigs in prison, but how did you get the gigs performing in prisons, and what did you like most about doing them?
That show probably helped me. Oh, okay.
I kind of just walked right into that, I think.
I felt like I was, man. But I think with the prisons, I had the first time it was connected to a comedy club in Columbus, Ohio. Guy by the name of Andrew Ford had a club called the Comedy Stop, and he actually did like a weekend, and then he might have an extra show here or there that you might do at Ohio State, or you might go to Dayton or something like that. And this particular time, he had one at the London prison in Ohio. So that was my first prison doing it. So it was through him. And the second time was through like my best friend. He was actually a correction officer at a prison in New York, and he hooked it up, and we came, and me and two of my friends, Chris Sherman and Daryl Banks, we took our time and just drove up there and went and did it. But So I've been in a few prisons, and very interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah, I bet it was. What did you enjoy most about doing them? What was the best part of that? Because I imagine it was different, but also I can imagine bringing joy.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Also, yeah.
That's what it was. It was just like, wow, just to hear those guys laugh like that. And it's like I say to them before I get, I'm not here to judge you for what you may be here for or what you ain't here for. I did just like that, winked at them, they laughed. What you ain't here, didn't do it, but I just hope you get it together while you're here and get yourself, right. Just a positive statement, just letting them know, strive to do better, be better.
Yeah.
And it was kind of crazy because like one prison, like when we left the one in New York, it was crazy, a bunch of incidents in there. I mean, I could tell you, but it was by the time we were done, these guys actually walked us out to the gate, and it was kind of like
cool.
Like I'm like, wow, because they looking at me like little kids. Some of these guys, big buff guys. Then we gave me their story, telling me where they from and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I see them, and you see them like little kids. You see the little kid. It's like, wow, man. Like I hate to leave y'all, but I gotta go.
Yeah. Made a connection. That's wonderful.
Yeah. Wow. Made a connection. I made an enemy. So I guess I gotta look out for this one guy. He's gonna get me when he get out.
Okay. Hopefully he's teasing.
He started,
Oh,
you know, he
Yeah.
heckled me. Started going back and forth with him, and I hit him harder than he could hit, and he got mad. Don't catch a case. Don't catch a case. You know, all that stuff. Yeah, I know who you are. I get out of here 7 years. I'm like, 7 years? I won't even look the same, man.
That's probably the part where he's like, that was interesting.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. Well, you also have toured overseas, and part of that was in the Middle East on the Stand Up for America comedy tour with comedy legend Tommy Davidson. That's incredible. What was the most memorable part of that tour for you?
Man, I think it was just talking to Tommy and him just telling me things about himself. I mean, things that happened in his life, and he just kind of like actually shared some stuff with me. And I was just like, wow, man, we make that kind of a good connection because it was just me and him. Like, and the crazy thing is that I had worked with Tommy many times, like, you know, in the DC area, and I would be in Maryland and all that. Did open for him a few times, and you see him in passing real quick. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, good show, man, good set," you know, because he go to do his thing, and he doing this a million times. So I didn't expect him to remember me, but it was kind of crazy when we actually got this show together. The first time, he had a gig with a good friend of mine, Charles Walden. And I went with Charles to see him because I was going to let him introduce himself and say, hey, man, me and you going to be together for like the next month or so like that on this tour. And I went and met him, and we just like instantly connected. He was talking to me, and it was crazy, man. It was wild. He was good. And I told him, like, out of a lot of the comedians that I watch, and I said, as a comedian, we watch comedians, we watch each other, but then you have people who can still make you laugh, like, you know, like a fan of comedy, you know?
Yeah.
You know? Like a laugher, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's right.
You know, to still make you laugh like that.
Yeah.
You know, this is why I do comedy. He's one of those guys, and I got a chance to say that as I brought him up because it was just me and him. So I would do my set, and then I would bring him up. And I got a chance to say that on the radio and just bring him up here, you know. And it was just like a real cool connection with him. He actually even asked me to come back the next year because we did the same tour, and it was both 2 Thanksgivings in a row we did that.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Sure did, yeah. Thank you. You made me bring up a good memory. You're going to make me emotional about that.
Well, I'm glad.
But it was good, though. It was good just to see one of those guys. It's like, man, I was watching you, and I wasn't even really interested in doing comedy that I thought, you know. And it's like, wow, just to see you and just to be able to work with you is just like an honor, you know. Guys like that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'll make an impact on your career and your craft because the support and just being asked to be a part of what he's doing, I would imagine builds a good amount of confidence in what you're doing and gifted to do. Yeah.
Makes me feel worldly, like I've been. You know?
Yeah.
You know? Done some things.
You've done some things. You also toured in Asia. Where in the world were you in Asia? That's part 1 of the question. So where in Asia were you? Part 2 is what challenges, if any, did you face as an American performer?
In Asia, from, you can say Korea, Japan.
Okay.
Okinawa. I know that's Japan. I just like to say Okinawa.
That's fun to say.
And then I was Southeast Asia. I had to say that because we couldn't say where we actually were. Some places it's kind of wow. It's kind of wow. Like, wow, man, I'm like some secret spy stuff. I can't even say where I'm at, son. A great experience, though, and I got to do it a few times, so it was kind of good because I got to go back to places that I've been years before, and I can see some of the changes they made in the places, and it was just kind of cool, just like to always be able to go back and do that. It's been some years since there, but it was great. It was great, though, but I think one of the most challenging things that happened, because everything was pretty smooth with that, was we got something happened with our visa while we were at the airport. Something that they needed more of, that we didn't have, or something like that. We had to prove that we were going to a U.S. military base. And I think they were thinking we were coming there to do comedy just on the, just on the regular like land side. And it's like, no, we two black comics. They're like, nah, the likelihood of us doing that, well, we gonna go to y'all, no, we going to American base. We trying to, we didn't need, visa. We just going American bases, making American money,
Mm-hmm.
and they were big mix up with that. And it took them a while before they got it though, but they got it together. And I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen?
Am I going to make it back to America?
Start thinking about all those crazy movies you've seen where the guy get in jail overseas and stuff like that,
I'm glad. I know. You don't want to be that story, right? Yeah.
Man, goodness, man. Shoot.
Yeah. So it was
was
primarily military bases then in Asia.
Yeah.
That's where you were. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if it was, in venues in Asia. I get it now. Okay.
I did that in Holland. I did stateside in Holland.
Oh, okay.
I did in Dubai.
Oh, Dubai.
I did both. I did it but the last time I did it, it was stateside. So it was international crowd, So it's kind of different though. It was different. It was good.
You do an international. That's what you mean by stateside. That's like.
Yeah, that's what I mean when I say stateside. Like you actually in, you're not doing military. It's the state or wherever you place you are, province or whatever. You're doing like clubs within that community area or whatever. But most of the time you overseas, a lot of time it is military installations wherever they have them. Yeah, you do that. But yeah, then those stateside ones are extra special. Because you got the language barrier. So some things you got to kind of figure out. You got to find the things that work. So the universal stuff, it makes you really work for that. That's what I appreciate about that. It's the universal stuff. Yeah.
Learning how to do that, because I have not done that yet. Now that you've done it and you can look back, what would you say are some of the key things to adjust in your craft for that language barrier, or at least one or two key things that's more universal language as you're talking about?
Yeah. So, it was understood that I don't speak, I didn't speak, what is it? Oh my goodness. Oh my God.
The Holland language or whatever. Yeah.
Say it.
I don't know.
I didn't speak.
There we go. Let's just go with that.
I didn't speak the language, but I mean, some of the crowds that would come like at a certain time, it would be more people from like the not the city, the urban and the farm areas. So a lot of them weren't as well as English or any kind of Americanized, any type of anything. They were like really not. They don't. So you could be up there just doing something for people and they have no idea
what you're saying. Yeah. So
I would just do things like action or anything, or try to like do a paint a picture type of thing, and that kind of stuff. I kind of made that work. And then when you had the audience that spoke the English, then you just had to slow your set down. Certain words and slogans, the way that you usually say them, you can't say. You have to make it to where they understand like what you're saying. Without losing too much from your bit,
Oh, those are good. Yeah, those are a couple key things right there. I like that. Like if there's a higher language barrier, you want to act it out more.
Much as you
as much as you can, and then slow it down for, if there's less of a language barrier, at least have some English.
Right.
I got you.
Like you wish they would do for you, like especially in England. They speak so fast, and it's like, hold on, man, wait a minute, slow down. I'm used to this, but I'm not used to English spoken that fast, man. It's just like, sound like, wait a what's your age? What's your age? What's your age? What? Oh, how old am I?
Yeah,
what's your age? What's your age? He said something in there that I seen the sound of the English, but yeah, okay, I got you. But it's fun. It's like, and I think people appreciate when you at least try, when they know you can't, and you just like, oh my God. If I was there for like in Amsterdam, I was there for almost a month. So at the while, certain things I knew, how to say, like, the phone time, because that was what you needed to make calls back home. They called it belt the boot. So I said, I need more belt the boot. You need more belt.
Picked up a few phrases. I like that.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool. It's like, okay, I'm expanding my mind right now, man. But it's crazy how Europeans, man, it's nothing for them, man, to speak like many languages like that. I guess because they get so close that they crossing borders. So like they speaking 3 or 4 languages, and it's like, wow. Even if it's not really fluent, but enough to go and be somewhere. And I was like, wow, man, y'all use a lot more brain power than we do in the U.S. for that.
And with our 1, maybe 2 languages, lots of times, some people bilingual with Spanish a little more in America, which is good. Yeah, I agree. That's a nice advantage to have that many languages, be able to communicate in them. Yeah, I think that's amazing. Yeah, you've been all over. You've even been in the Caribbean islands, which sounds like a ton of fun. What types of venues did you perform in on the islands? And did anything surprise you?
The first venue I did was actually in a get this, Holiday Inn Resort. Am I telling my age? Oh my God, that's cool. Holiday Inn Resort. That's what it was, right off the beach. Oh my God, it was. You can tell it's been there since like the 50s or something like that. But I mean, it was still maintained, really clean and everything. But and they had the comedy club right inside of there. The lady's book is called Coconuts. Can't remember the lady's name, and she was her sweetheart. And and that was the first time the first few times I went. It was there, but it was just awesome experience seeing the island because it was only like 20 something miles long and like so many miles wide. So I mean, you just go around the island like in a matter of an hour, not even an hour, maybe even more than that, less than that. But I think it was a great experience, like being in the Caribbean because I like all the stuff with the pirates. I'm a big history person, so I like to see those places, like, actually visualize, like, this is where pirates were and all this kind of stuff, it was like, this is right here, and around and all that, man. But it was a great overall experience for me. And I mean, it wasn't too much that I think the people are pretty much, they know they're more Americanized than we are. They know more about us than we do them. I
see. Okay.
But one thing that really surprised me is they're big country music fans.
Oh, okay.
And the Caymanians are like, black people. Those were the slaves that were on the Cayman Islands. Yeah. And they're the people they are like country music. Them and Jamaicans.
Okay.
Because of the waves from the stations, maybe because they're down south, they get those like better on their regular radios. So that's the music that they got. So it's kind of wild. A lot of them country music.
Oh, I didn't know that either. That's really cool.
Caribbean people, yeah. So yeah. So we just find stuff in there. Wow. Yeah, I just realized that. Yeah, sure was. Yeah, that's what I found. That was one of the things I found. Yeah, interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah, that's great. A lot of life experiences you've had. In fact, that's where you draw most of your comedy from and how you engage and relate to these audiences you've performed for worldwide. And so that's your performing experiences. What other life experiences do you draw from in your comedy material? Do you have some main topics or main draws, or is it more of a hodgepodge? What would you say?
Oh, shoot. I say it's like jazz, man. It's like jazz. It's all over there. It's all over the place. It's here. It's out here. And I might be doing a little move for you. I do a little bit of everything. It's voice and movement.
Voice and movement.
Voice and movement. So that could be anything. Yeah. I might be making a sound here or there. I don't know. I guess regurgitate the things that I've seen and, just bring them, some of the vision to some of the craziness I've experienced. And just the fun you can have when you just twist it and, make it kind of abstract. I guess that's art. That's what we are. We artists.
We are artists.
We are artists. Yes. That's what it is.
Artists in comedy, which is amazing. And I love it. What is the best bit you have written or performed off the cuff and why?
Off the cuff, I think it was just I did more of a characterization. It was a kid that was in my audience that had a hat, and it kind of looked like I don't know if anybody's familiar with the singer Jamiroquai. He was hot for me. He made the video where he was like on the elevator, it was going backwards, and he was singing forward and all that. I don't know if you remember. It's called Virtual Insanity. That's homework. Virtual Insanity.
Thank you. I was like, I'm gonna have to look that up in my head, and he went, "That's homework."
We can't sing on it, right? No, I won't sing on it. And somebody try to get you for copyright. So I won't. But he was a guy that was popular, and he had a hat on. And on his video, he was on this. I guess you could say it was a sidewalk or a flat escalator that was going backwards, and he was like moving forward while he was singing. He was moving and looked kind of real cool the way he was doing it. And I took the guy's hat and I was just funning with him, and I started doing it. I started doing moves and stuff like that. That was the movement part, and he really enjoyed that, and the audience enjoyed it. So yeah, that was it. And it touched me, and it's like, because he was like, wow, that's his favorite guy. He was really into Jamiroquai, and I was just teasing him because of the hat he had. And I was like, wow. So I just like hit it right on the head. So it was kind of cool when that happens,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And that is nice when there's a good connection like that. I love that. Yeah. So I think you've kind of alluded to an answer to this next question, but let's expand upon it a little bit. If someone hasn't ever seen you before, how best would you describe your comedy style?
I'm like visual. I do things that you have to see to get. And I'm audio, a lot of audio. I like sound. I like music. I like sound effects. I like the up and down where you can just, take the register up for something, down for something. I like that. I mean, I'm all over the place with that. I mean, I do a little movement dance. It's almost like some stuff I do is almost like soft shoe. And I just realized that I didn't really realize that's what it do, but it's kind of like a little soft shoe. I do movement and stuff like that. And so I'm visual. I'm audio visual. That's what I say. I'm audio visual. I love performing. I love the theater part of comedy where you get to like do characterization, where people get to look in your eyes and in your face and feel something that you want them to feel. I love that. So I think my style is just kind of like, it's all over the place, but I think it's solo theater.
Ah, I like that.
Solo theater.
Solo theater, a one-man show kind of thing.
Yeah. That's what I'm sticking with.
I like that. You should keep that in your branding. I like that. I don't think I've heard of other comedian. Maybe I'm sure there's so many people out there. Maybe another comedian has used it, but that's the first time I've heard it from a comedian described that way. So
that was a description that somebody, that I just said to somebody one day. Solo theater, because that's what it is. Like what we do, we got to everything. When we up there, we got to create the mood, the register, the timing. You got a description. You got to do all that so people can see and feel what you're saying.
Yes.
Wow, it's something great that we do. We don't give ourselves credit for it.
That's right. We need to do it. We got to start. Yeah. It begins here, Dante.
Yeah.
It begins here. Well, this has really been great. As we wrap up here, can you share with the laughers how they can follow you on social media or otherwise, Mr. Dante Carter?
Well, I must say, laughers, I am on Facebook. Does that tell my age?
I know, right?
But I'm on Instagram also. But I'm on Facebook as Dante Carter at Facebook. And I'm at Dante Carter 42 on Instagram. And stand-up comedian I got underneath there, just in case.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah. All right.
And I'm working on it. I'm going to get a QR code too one day.
We're all working on something.
Yeah, we coming up with you.
That's right. Coming up with us. That's right. Let's do it. Laughers will also be sure to put his information for you in the show notes as well. So if you're working out or driving, you can just click on his information and follow Dante Carter. Dante, thank you so much for coming on the show today. This has been such a delight and it's been super fun. You are amazing. I love it.
And I really had a great time doing this. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for having me, for going to have me. And I'm going to enjoy this time with you. And thanks. I really enjoyed this. This was cool. I can't wait to hear it. Can't wait to hear it.
And I can't wait to share it with you. Well, you know we're going to do that. So, laughers, you can see Dante perform live as your headliner on August 13th in the 2022 X2 Comedy Series at Court Square Theater in Harrisonburg at 7:30 p.m. Beer and wine is available at concessions. Joining the lineup with Dante is host JMU professor Chris Womack, yours truly, that's me, plus Jay Zier, deemed by X2 Comedy as the Valley's original off-the-beaten-path comic, and P.T. Breton, a pastor turned comedian based in D.C., making it a fun night for you with this hilarious lineup. Tickets are $20 in advance and $25 at the door. Buy them online today at courtsquaretheater.org. That's Court Square Theater with an ER at the end.org. Great group discounts are also available, and we'll be sure to put this and all the event info in the show notes for you as well. We can't wait. We'll see you there. And lastly, and most importantly, thanks for tuning in, laughers. Out of all the podcasts out there, you picked us, and we think that's pretty darn special, just like you. Until next time, keep smiling. Bye.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Virginia is for Laughers podcast, brought to you by X2 Comedy. We'll be dropping a new podcast every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so check back for another uplifting episode. Come to an X2 Comedy show or let us bring a show to you. To find out more, head to x2comedy.com. Be sure to share us with a friend. Until next time, cheers.